I've long spoken to you about the age of belief, which was the age of Pisces, and how every age, every few thousand years, has certain keywords associated with it. For example, an age of Aries, which we had before, we've had several. An age of Aries comes with the words I will. A Gemini age is I think. A Cancer age is an age dominated by the idea of I feel. And the last several thousand years that make up the Piscean age, the age where the three Abrahamic religions muscled their way to the top positions, declaring all others heretics until finally they really only had each other to contend with. And then they still called each other heretics, apostates, unbelievers, and whatnot. But the fact is, this whole age that you've grown up in, most of us, has been an age of belief. And belief is what dominated every institution, from the government to corporations to your schooling system, your medical institutions. Everything relied on belief. And if you gave your belief, you gave your consent to people out there, somewhere you didn't even know where they were, to author your reality. Now, none of us knew we were doing this. We were just following along. We were operating within the perceptual boundaries that we believed we had. We were just children, being raised by people who had already given their consent to be lied to. And think about the word belief. As an old friend of mine once pointed out, and rather recently to me, believe has the words be, lie in it. It also has the word belie, to hide. It has the word be, and it has the word lie in it. Now, I'm not saying that people designed it this way. I'm not saying that this was an accident either. I'm saying that the universe itself, this strange place that we're in, call it the multiverse, call it this plane, call it the great mystery, whatever you choose. Whatever this existence is, no one really knows what it is. And so they give you scientist upon scientist, book after book, trying to convince you that we know what it is, every bit of it, every boundary. And here are all the words that define it. Here are all the terms. Here are all the things. We've cut it up, vivisected it, and told you what it is. So it's not a mystery anymore. You can sit there, be quiet, and understand that this is a mundane world. We have it under control. It's all under wraps. It's ours, and you got to pay to live in it. It all goes together into a narrative. But the fact is, and the truth remains, no one knows what this place is. No one knows what existence is. All we know is that it is. And a great many philosophers in the past, like Hume, for example, and others, the classical Greek philosophers, the more modern philosophers, every philosopher of every age has delved at least partially into what being is. What is being? And can we actually know where we are? Is it possible to actually know? What if it's all an illusion? And a great many of them came to the conclusion that even if it is an illusion, we can all agree that at the very least, the illusion exists and we exist within it. Therefore, we exist. It doesn't matter what we are. It doesn't matter why we are. The fact remains, we are. So starting off with that premise, we are in something. We are a part of something. We are something. We are. And because we are, and because this is, most people don't spend their lives trying to figure out exactly why they're here, or what this here is, or what are the things that make up the books that they read, the pencils or pens or tablets or mice that they hold in their hands, their phones, the glass, the ground. They understand that a great amount of human artifice went into these things, most of these things. As increasingly the world that people live in is made up of things that human ingenuity and human alchemy, which nowadays we call chemistry, has forged for them. There still is the natural world. And even if something is forged by a human, even if something is arrived at through combination and artifice, creation, by mixing media together, forming things out of glass and steel and computer chips and whatnot. Doesn't matter. It's all real as I am and you are and everything else around us. And if we're all illusion, we're all real within an illusion, which makes us real. So trying to figure out whether we're real or not is ridiculous because we are. Is it unreal? Doesn't matter. We're real. We are. Why we are. Where we are. Who we are. Where we're going. What we're supposed to do. All those things are unanswered. Some of the greatest minds have tried to answer them, and some have. But ultimately, it's part of the human experience and your mission in life, part of your journey. As you go about this world, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, or you go it alone, you're single, you forge your life, you move from place to place, and your story is written. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how your life turns out. Even if it's been sad, everyone goes through sadness. I know some get worse than others. Some get more pleasure, some get more pain. There's no point dwelling on that. The fact is, we all have stories, and we're all part of a story. And part of that story is our purpose. And part of that purpose is to realize it. Some of us have. Some of us have realized, I was made to be an architect. I was made to be an engineer. I was designed to be an artist. I was made to be a musician. I was put on this earth to tell jokes. I was put on this earth to help people. A great many of us have not discovered why we're here. To that end, in a new age, an age marked by the words, not I believe, but I know. Those people, those lost souls, or the late ones, however you want to see them, or yourself, confused, busy, whatever it is, are going to have the time to figure out why they are here and what is their purpose. You may not believe me, and that's fine, but things are going to be changing in ways that you never imagined very soon. Things already have. If you consider your life, how much has changed in your life, it's a great deal. It's about to go into hyperdrive, my friend. And this is why you need to keep your wits about you. I've told you before on this channel what exactly entailed an age of information, but also an age where belief is gone and knowing comes. An age ruled by the planet Uranus. Now, you're going to have tons of quacks, tons of astrology weirdos who make their money, their reputation, and everything else on presenting to you some flaky spiritual garbage mumbo jumbo that doesn't give you anything. I don't want to do that, and that's not my intent. I want to give you what I know. And what I know about this age is that, in fact, these things do matter, but they are not everything that people tell you they matter about. They're not everything associated with that astrological sign. They're not everything associated with your sign. And there's different types of astrology. And these things play a part, but they don't play everything. You have a fate, yes. But your fate is also determined by your choices. You have free will. Many of us know this. Many of us have not come to that conclusion yet. And some of us still dwell in one side or the other. It's all fated. I can't do anything. Or I make my own fate. There's no such thing. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's both. But don't just trust me. You'll figure it out yourself. And if you don't, you don't. Maybe you feel comfortable staying on one side of the aisle or another. I certainly did. At some point, you'll start realizing that there were things fated in your life, no matter what you did. The only way to see that is to look back. I've told you before that one of the greatest actions that a human being can do, much less a superior human being, and by which I mean a genius. Some of the greatest minds on earth we call geniuses. Sounds a lot like genie, right? That's because they've unlocked something within themselves that made them special. Not because of who they were, but because they unlocked it. That's what made them special. The fact is, that thing, that special quality that made them geniuses, whether they were Mozart or Ben Franklin, is within each of us. Every human being has that possibility. I once took a course in college called Madness and Creativity. And it went into the difference between madness and creativity and how, in many cases, they are linked. One being a spectrum so far away from the other as to be its virtual opposite pole. The fact is, genius is arrived at, it's discovered, it's worked on, and it's brought out. It's nurtured like a child within the person, and any human being can do it at any age. You don't have to be a child prodigy. There's a great deal of misinformation about that, and most of it has been there for us to believe in. But the age of belief is over. It's going to become pretty obvious how much over it is as time passes. But one thing that makes an age of belief end is the ending of the fables that people thought were reality. The ending of faith that people put in things that didn't deserve it. I'm not saying that all faith is wrong. There's some things you should have faith in. Yourself, for example. But some things you shouldn't have. And this is why cults have been able to control people's minds for so long, getting them to believe in stories and events that they were not actually there to witness. Now, you can believe whatever you want, but ultimately all belief has to do with faith. And the age of belief is over, which means the age of faith is over. It's going to take a while for people to realize how over it is. There are people who have made their entire lives about listening to stories given them and believing those stories and having absolute faith in them. And it's carried them from one place to another, in large part to power for a lot of people. But that power only comes with more belief, more faith, the faith of others, the belief of others. And they're able to capitalize on that, either by preaching to them, writing books, being a so-called priest or rabbi, imam, a counselor, someone who uses religion or a cult or really anything of spiritual significance and making a path with it to power over others. Now, while that is fine, ultimately that is what we would call the dark side. Power over others should be earned. Those who give power to another person do so with faith. Faith that the other person will act in their best interest. And those who do not, and those who use others and make their power base dependent upon the use of others, they are the worst defilers. They are the users. And in ancient Atlantis, there was a great schism between people who believed they could use and those who felt they should preserve. And it was that war, according to Edgar Cayce and others, that caused the rifts in Atlantis long before the earth shook and over a series of earthquakes broke it up. In an age of belief, all things were possible for those who could lie to others and get them to believe. Likewise, those who could convince others would be able to gain power. In some cases, this was a good thing, and in others not, as we well know. But when an age moves, and the defining qualities of one age being that of belief, surrender, and that moves into an age of unpredictability, lack and loss of control, and more freedom, more unexpected things, and the flow of information like it's never been before. Well, you've got problems for the people who have garnered power through belief. Believe me, my friend, they will not stop. Doesn't matter who they are. The Catholic Church, the school system, your government, all these things are based on belief and the garnering of belief and the control over minds through belief. And we know where that leads. It leads to a great number of people surrendering their will to a group, and that group controls them through the belief. But that's changing. Once we move fully into an information age, and belief is not the currency that it once was, people are going to work on influence, because influence will be a new way to wrangle people. This is why they've created influencers, people who are fluent in getting inside you. An influence, a river, an ocean, a stream within the human being, is laid bare. And once it is, that person identifies with the person speaking to them. Once they do that, they've gotten inside them, and they're going to be able to direct them to do all sorts of things. Beware the influencer. Beware the ones, like me, who talk to you. Beware anything they say. Beware anything I say. Let it advise you, but don't let it dominate you. Don't ever let it tell you what to do. Let it give you perhaps something to think about. But beware of those who want you to join a movement. Movements always tend to sweep people away. But in an age where belief is swallowed up by truth, by facts bubbling to the surface, and often in ways that seem extreme, quick, too fast, like a rocket crashing into the ground, suddenly, bam, you got a bunch of information you didn't before. There's going to be likewise really fast, really quick, unforeseen reactions. Such is life. And you've seen much of that already. Now, as we approach the crescendo of human experience with technology, where technology's taking that leap like you wouldn't believe, just shooting up, you're going to have everybody on Earth vying for power over it. Well, a lot of people anyway. The ones who want control still do, and they won't stop because they don't have much else in their life. Freedom and control often collide, if not always. And every human being needs a bit of control in their lives, self-control especially. Sometimes external, if you're going to be part of a group or a community. But at the same time, what defines us as human beings and individuals is freedom. Beware of those who tell you that freedom is bad. That you got to where you are today in whatever negative light you perceive your country or yourself because of freedom. It wasn't freedom that sent you there. It was mistakes. It was the people in the past, the guards at the wall, falling asleep. It was sorcery and hypnotism. It was lies. It was belief. It wasn't freedom that got you into your sad state wherever you are, if indeed you are. So many of us have bought the lies given to us that our societies are done for. But it ain't over till it's over. And as you've seen, things can happen out of nowhere that hit you like a brick right in the face. And things will happen. Unforeseen things, just as they are happening now. Much of the lies that have been kept by the Jewish supremacists are now coming to the fore. Just look at the top trending searches on search engines and you'll find that Goyim is fast becoming the number one word that people are speaking about, thinking about, and researching about. A sea change isn't just on the horizon, my friend. It is here. And this is one of the things that will herald the final end of the age of belief, as the chosen meet their fates, as the world sees what they really believe. And as those who have been imprisoned for so long in chains of belief, forged not only by those who wanted to control them, but by their own minds, by their own hopes and dreams, by their own wishes, those people will find those chains disappearing, and many of them will be unmoored. There will be a great many of people who will seek to swoop them up and vacuum them up and gain control over them. In this new age, in every age really, but certainly in this new one, this information age that we find ourselves in, the age of Aquarius, the best thing that you can do is to be smart. And no matter what information you're given, take a step back. Think before you act, and think before you respond. Give it a few days if you can. See things as though you were far, far away. If it's a political action or an action by a neighbor, a friend, a family member, it doesn't matter who it is. Take a step back. Think about it in the long view, not your immediate view. One of the qualifications for a person to be a controllable robot is that they do not think, and they are emotional first and foremost. You see it all over the place. Those with emotions are controlled by their emotions first, and then by those who control the emotions that they have. So many of us, myself included, no doubt you and everyone you know, have been controlled through psychological operations and emotional operations for a very, very long time, getting us to think about, feel about more than think. All sorts of things that don't even matter, have nothing to do with us. That's coming to an end. Oh, they'll still happen, but the natural frequencies in the air, in this new age, as our Earth and our entire solar system really moves into a new portion of the galaxy, that is happening. In fact, our whole solar system is moving into a sort of cloud. It's a nebulous cloud, and it has all sorts of cosmic dust in it that we're going to be experiencing and already are as it falls upon the Earth and all the planets in our solar system. And this will be continuing for, well, longer than you or I are alive. This is part of the change. New energy. The strange asteroid, comet, whatever you want to call, 3I Atlas that blazed its way through our solar system and is going to be leaving it, has left a huge amount of dust, a huge amount of cosmic ice, whatever it is, strange stuff. Some theorize that this could even be the prima materia. This could be the stuff that the universe was made out of before it differentiated. It could be God particle stuff. This could be Eden stuff, if you want to look at it that way. And if it is, well, the Earth is now moving into the field that it left behind, the tail that it left behind. You might think that nothing will change, but the only thing in this world that stays the same is change, as you well know. We're going to see some amazing things together. And all the uncertainty and insecurities of the past are going to be swept away by an awe that you're about to feel, if you don't feel it already. That awe is going to come from without as well as within, because you're going to be discovering things about yourself as you move away from what they told you to believe and embrace the truth, as you discover who you really are, if you haven't already. Really quickly, I wanted to give you some powerful advice as pertains to unlocking the genius within yourself. All geniuses, from Mozart to others, if you want to call Einstein a genius or whoever, all geniuses find something that they're naturally attracted to, naturally pulled towards. So you'll be able to tell this by your feeling. And in this case, this is a strange feeling. It's not emotional. It's just a gut feeling, like in your stomach. When you think about doing a job, if it gives you a sense or a feeling of anxiety and nervousness or being pressed, pushed, you got to hurry, you got to go, 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 you're worried, nervousness, anxiety, that means it's not your natural inclination. And what you should do is start finding what it is that is your natural inclination. These are found by looking back into your past. What was it that you loved to do, that you desired to do, that there was no end to doing because it was the most exciting thing to you? That you could read book after book after book on it. You could do it for hours and hours with the time just flying by because it didn't matter. You just loved it. It was inexhaustible, your lust for it. These things we generally have when we're kids. Darwin, for example, found that no job suited him until he started going out and collecting things like he did when he was a kid, samples of living things. And once he did that, his career took off. It shot up. And it didn't just change the money that he made or the success that he had. It changed his body even, making him from a sickly weakling into a stronger man. Now, not everybody likes Darwin, myself included, but this is a good story. And I'm not saying he's a genius, but he did find his purpose in life. And that is part of what geniuses do. They're not a genius because they were born special. They're a genius because they found something. And that something was already inside them, but they had learned to listen to other people and learn to believe their lies. You can't make money doing that. No one's going to pay you to do that. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. Whatever they told you when you were a child, to not focus your mind on that. You needed to go do something else. You can't be successful doing that. No one's going to care about that. That's dumb. Whatever the hell they told you made you lie to yourself for the rest of your life. And put yourself like the wrong peg, trying to fit into a hole that you weren't shaped for. It led to all sorts of problems. No human being is going to rise to the top and shine like the beautiful, crazy diamond they are, to quote Pink Floyd, unless they're doing what they're supposed to do, what they're called to do, what their soul longs to do. And by finding that, my friend, you will unlock your purpose. It doesn't matter if society says this is wrong. I'm serious. It doesn't matter what your friends or family say, even. It doesn't matter what your religion or your government or anyone says, any prohibitions, any laws. What matters is what you feel called to do. It doesn't matter what people say about it. What matters is that you feel right doing it. Now, maybe you've already found this. If you have, I'm proud of you. Just like I'm sure you are. It takes a great deal of effort to be able to push past all the things that are in the way. But you know why they're in the way? And this truth, my friend, is one of the hardest things to realize, but those who have reached a certain age generally realize it. Unfortunately, often in their very late years. This is what they realize. All the obstacles in their way, they weren't impediments. They weren't blockages. They were part of the path. They were steps in that long staircase to success. And you couldn't have gotten there unless you'd had them in front of you. Because if they weren't there, you would have made mediocre work at best. You would have shined but dimly. As Marcus Aurelius, the wondrous Stoic philosopher and philosopher king, once said, and I don't have the quote in front of me right here. I'm just going to give you the general point. All impediments to action, all things in the way, all blockages, all obstacles to action, advance action. That which blocks the way becomes the way. Try to remember this. That which blocks the way becomes the way. If you can internalize that wisdom, my friend, and understand what it truly means, you'll stop putting resistance to your own learning in the way. You will rise higher than you ever have. You'll realize that every obstacle you had and every failure you had was necessary and important. And all you have to do is chalk it up to one more thing that taught you a lesson. One more thing that propelled you onward. And one more thing that taught you who you were. You failed at a business? Good. Do it again. Fail again. Good. Do it again. Fail again. Excellent. Do it again. Succeed. Because you're only going to be good enough. You're only going to shine like you were meant to. If you fall down that many times, if you screw up that many times, if you refine yourself that many times and learn from your mistakes, that which blocks the path becomes the path. Find your genius. Find what you're called to do. In this new information age, even the most ridiculous things that people thought before you'd never be able to make money off of, if you find your niche, it could be the smallest little thing. You run with it, my friend. Keep your job. Make it your avocation. Make it your side job. But keep it up and attack it with the fury of a lover, of an obsessive. Read every book you possibly can about it. Watch stories. Dream about it. Watch videos. Talk to people who are interested in it. Even if it's your avocation and not your main vocation. It will grow and it will blossom within you. And your own mind will make the connections that turn your natural inclination into genius. And then watch what happens. Whether you're a store owner or a book writer, you're going to soar. You're going to soar, man. And that's how you do it. Soon enough, I'm going to be giving you videos that also strengthen you in other ways. Because I've arrived at that point in this channel. It's time to start giving you these things. As the age of belief dies, we have to start relying on ourselves more and more. And we have to be able to think for ourselves more and more. We need that discernment. We need that ability to know who we are and to be honest with ourselves. We need to be able to have distance. We need to step back, not rush to conclusions, not rush to feelings. If you have feelings, fine. Step back, examine them, see where they come from, and ask yourself who they're going to benefit. Emotion is not power. Emotion is fleeting. True power comes from that which is and can be sustained, that which has a foundation, that which is adamant and does not yield. Emotion comes and goes like a ship passing in the night. It's here, it's gone. It's here, it's gone. If you want to live your life like a flighty little child, join the ranks of all the goyim. Join the ranks of all the biddable, controlled slaves out there who cling to political manipulation and manipulation of every other sort, whether it's religious, philosophical, gender manipulation, anything, ideological. For those who can detach themselves from all other things and rise and shine in that sky, shine like they're meant to be, who they are. And they do things not because they want to make money, but because they love doing them. The money comes, but only once you have a labor of love. Only once you truly enjoy it. You focus on making money, you're not going to get it. It's like watching a boiled pot. Take forever for that thing to start boiling. Forever. It's one of the rules of this realm that we live in. Whatever it is. But we do know that it is. Find your genius. If it's making funny little cartoons, do it. If it's designing little napkins, do it. If it's making teddy bears, do it. If it's going out and recording trains going by, do it. Make a fucking channel based on it. Any little niche thing you can be successful at. And if you're not happy at your job, don't just quit. Keep it going, but pursue your passion on the side. It will blossom, bloom, and eventually take over. And then you can make that transition. Be very careful who you believe, my friend. Be very, very careful who you listen to, or rather, whom you listen to. An age of wonders is here. Wonders like you've never imagined, and we're just at the beginning. We're just there. Just now. Like any age, it takes a little while for it to solidify. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Neither have I. We gotta be nimble. We gotta be on our feet. Which is why before I mentioned that I don't think globalism is so bad. Now, I'm not talking about a bunch of elites ruling over people. I'm not talking about the end of culture or nation. I'm talking about someone perhaps not having all their eggs in one basket in one country. Someone needs to be nimble in these strange times that we find ourselves in. Rather than being tethered to one area, one land, we need to have our monies, we need to have our hopes and our dreams, our outlooks, our friendships even, our contacts, perhaps even our properties in many places. Because anything can happen. And many things will happen. They'll come out of the blue. Like I said, that's one of the things that marks this age, the age of knowing, the Aquarian age. Out of the blue events are part and parcel of it. Hold on to your hats and glasses. Do not act emotionally. Think your way through things. That is the most important thing you can do. Other than finding who you really are, what it is you really want, why you're here. Because your particular personality and your particular way of viewing things, what you love, is of utmost importance. Because you were created, who knows by what? The God, the gods, the universe, the force, doesn't matter. You were created. You're made up of the stuff of this universe, and your particular perspective is unlike every other human being and every other thing in the universe. You are unique, and therefore you are priceless and valuable. You are a diamond. You're more than that, which is why Pink Floyd urged people to shine on. To not be dull. Don't let the years that go by dull you. All your hopes and dreams having been abandoned, don't let it dull you. Don't let it dull your shine. You should learn to glow brighter and shine brighter. And you can. And you will. And you are. I'll speak again soon, my friend. Look forward to victory. Not just victory for our people, or your people, depending on who you are. Not just victory for your philosophy, or victory for your religion, or whatever it is you're a part of. Personal victory. Victory of the self, of the soul, of the individual, of the will, the triumph of you. Look forward to that. And look forward to like minds like me and others who, together with you, will be finding out more of who we are, why we're here, and how we can help each other, how we can bring more light to this darkened world, and how this world can, like us, shine ever brighter. And it's going to be a lot easier now that we're moving into this information age in truth, and in speed. The Chinese believe that we're about to enter, according to them, the fire horse. And of course, that lasts a whole lunar year. This will happen on the 17th of February. But you can already feel the change in the air coming as things seem to be speeding up. That's kind of what marks the fire horse. Energy, potential energy turning into moving energy, kinetic energy. And you can't wrangle this thing. You just got to fucking ride it. You're going to feel pushed. You're going to feel pulled. You're going to feel like events are moving super fast. Just get ready and hold on and ride that fire horse, my friend. Because we're going to ride this thing into the future to success, prosperity, and victory. If I were you, I'd look into what it means to leave behind the wooden snake and to move into the fire horse. Because although this doesn't dictate everything, it dictates a certain quality that will mark the next year. There is merit to looking into these ancient beliefs, not to putting all of your faith, not to putting all your belief in them, but to taking the advice that they have to offer and adding it to your own thinking. Such marks a man or a woman of wisdom. They don't do everything alone. They know when to ask for help. They know when to open their ears. And they don't just take from one thing. They take from everything that the universe has to offer them. We'll speak again soon. And may your God or gods bless you and go with you. Whether you believe in them or you believe in the vril, the chi, the chulel, the ki, the prana, the num, or the force, may it be with you, ever and always, as we move into an age of knowing, because the age of belief is over.
You can hear it in the wind, a calling to return, the truth that was hidden, a flame that will burn. Their lies and deceptions open for all to see, amidst useless elections, the cry to be free. Away goes the old world, the industrial rat race, the dying of the governments, the chosen meet their fates. Can you feel it? The writing's on the wall. You can sense it in your bones. The curtain's about to fall. So let it fall, let it fall, let it fall, let it fall. The age of belief is over now. The parasitical essence of story and illusion maker, seen and known by all, revealed are the fakers. So what's to be for us when the age is turned anew, as poles shift and islands drift and the heavens take their cue? It's a new chance, my brothers, for the restraint to come alive, the silence to speak their truth, the forgotten now to thrive. We've long awaited this, an information age, the quiet touch of mercy's kiss, the moment when the lost find their way. The ancient echoes behind us provide us with their gaze. Their descendants rise to challenge the ancient labyrinth maze. And the moment comes unspoken, when the tide turns from black to blue. Future's door remains unopened. The key resides.